Thank you, choir. You've been great today. So, history has remained almost silent on the triumphs of African American women. No more. Fannie Lou Hamer and many others are now stepping forward to tell their own stories of how they overcame the tremendous odds of poverty, racism, and ignorance to change the world and make it better for all of us. Fannie Lou Hamer was able to make her mark on history and change the world through her amazing courage, her strong convictions, integrity, and her ability to energize, motivate, inspire, calm, and cultivate a civil rights movement through her personal story and her inspirational songs. She was among the most significant participants in the struggle launched in the later half of the 20th century to achieve freedom and social justice for African Americans. Parts of her personal story that she will share with you today covers her efforts to register to vote in 1962, her transition from sharecropper to civil rights activist, and her ascent to a key speaker at the 1964 National Democratic Convention. Mrs. Hamer's historic presence in Atlantic City in the 1964 Democratic National Convention brought national prominence to her electrifying testimony before the convention's Credentials Committee. She sought to prevent the seating of the all-white Mississippi delegation. While this effort failed, the Democratic Party agreed that in the future, no delegation would be seated from a state where anyone was illegally denied the vote. Roughly a year later, the 1965 Voting Rights Act was passed. We welcome Miss Fannie Lou Hamer to our church and our pulpit.
I woke up this morning with my, and it was day on freedom. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Glory. Hallelujah. My name is Fannie Lou Hamer. And I was a sharecropper. My mama and daddy were sharecroppers. I was born in 1917 in Roomville, Mississippi. And I was the youngest of 20 children. Jim, you hear me now, church? 20 children. Oh, yeah. Now, in 1962, I was 44 years old. And I had never even registered to vote. Let's no vote. Let's no vote. So, church, can you hear me, sir? So, church, in the summer of 1962, some young folk come down to Rouville, come from up north. Young college kids, both black and white. They was from an organization called SNCC, and that stands for Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. These young folk were holding mass meetings all over Rouville, trying to get Negroes to go down to the courthouse to vote. I heard about those meetings. So I went. I got to tell you, I was so inspired by those young people, so inspired, because they told us that the Constitution said that Negroes have the right to vote. They told us that voting is power for the powerless, that voting could help us get better jobs, better education for our children, better roads. And they told us with the vote, you could vote people out that you didn't like. Amen. So when those young people asked for volunteers to go down to the courthouse the next day to register to vote, I didn't hesitate. I raised my hand high. Because you see, church, I was just so tired of being sick and tired. I was just so tired of the way things were. And oh yeah, volunteering to go down there was dangerous. Anything could happen. You could lose your life. But this is how I looked at it, church. My life was being taken a little bit at a time, every single day, with my life being the way that it was. And so I was ready. I was ready for change. And I was ready to actually do something about it. So the next morning I got up, got dressed, grabbed my comfortable shoes, because I didn't know what to expect. But at least I know that if I had my comfortable shoes, I'd be all right. Well, there was 18 of us brave souls went down. Now the young folks had rented us a nice school bus. We got on the bus and we were on our way down to the courthouse. Were we scared? Oh yeah, we were really scared. But we were on a mission. Wasn't nothing gonna change if we didn't step out. You got to show courage for change. When we got downtown, the Indianola, we began to see a police presence along the side of the road. And we began to see trucks with men waving guns. But we were scared. Bus come alongside, stopped in front of the courthouse. We took deep breaths. We walked out of the bus. We stepped into the courthouse. All 18 of us. Circuit clerk says, "What y'all want?" And I say in my most professional voice, I said, "Well, sir, we are here to register to vote." He said, "So you are you?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Well, it's too many of you in the doorway. You can't all stand here. You're blocking the way. Other folk need to come in and do their business. 2 of you can stay. The rest of you are going to have to stand outside." So we quickly decided that I would stay and a young man named Ernest Davis. So then the clerk took us into a room, sat us down. He said, "Now, can y'all read?" I said, "Yes, sir, we can read." So he handed us this test. They call it the literacy test. I looked at that, all kind of questions on there, nonsensical questions. Spell forwards, backwards. Spell vote upside down in the correct manner. All kinds of things like that. Things didn't make no sense. But you know what? There were 2 questions on there that all of us could answer. You know what they were? The name of your employer and their telephone number. And what they want that for? So that by the time you got home, your employer would already know you've been down there trying to register to vote. And you're probably not going to have a job when you get back home. That's what that was for. But we filled it out. We filled it out. So then he come with this big black book. It's a copy of the Constitution. Opened it up and he came to the section 16. Told us to copy that section. We copied it. Then he told us, now, tell me what that means. We didn't know what that meant. And church, frankly, I don't think he knew what it meant. Well, needless to say, we didn't register to vote that day. But we were back on the bus. We were thankful that nothing bad happened. But we were already planning for the next time because we were going to register to vote. We were talking on the bus. We were really animated. So we didn't really pay attention to the siren in the distance. But then it got louder and louder the closer it got to us, you see. And we looked around, and here come the State Highway Patrol car, running up real fast past the bus, went way up in front of the bus, then turned sideways and stopped, blocking the pathway of the bus. What was happening? Policeman got on the bus and they said, bus driver, we're going to have to take you in. We said, what they do? What did we do? You know what the policeman said? He said he was arresting our bus driver because the bus was too yellow. It's a school bus. It's supposed to be yellow. They could sure come up with some stuff, church. So they took our bus driver, put him in handcuffs, and put him in the car. Now, he was a young man, having a young family. What they gonna do to him? They gonna beat him? They gonna lynch him? What they gonna do? And what's gonna happen to us? What do we do? Half of the people on the bus wanted to leave. The keys were there in the ignition. They wanted to go off. I said, you can't go off and leave that young man. But I could feel the fear and the hysteria beginning to rise in that bus. It was rising quickly because folks were scared. They were scared. They didn't want to be sitting ducks. They were scared. That fear was so thick, you could choke on it. And all of a sudden, as I sat there, I just felt this calm come over my body. I ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. I ain't gonna let nobody, Lord, turn me round. I'm gonna keep on walking, keep on talking, walking up to freedom's land. Oh, yes. And as I began to sing, the rest of them joined in with me. They began to remember that we are on a mission. Yes, it's going to be hard, but we got to show courage. We're not going to get anywhere if we turn around. We got to move forward. That's where we are. And pretty soon, here comes the patrol car. There's our bus driver. Pretty much all right. Policeman got on board. He said, the charge for driving a bus that's too yellow is $100. But we po folk. All 18 of us, we shook our bags, the women, and the men got out their wallets. We gathered some $33 and some change. That's all we had. We prayed that they would accept that. And they did, praise God. So we was on our way home. I was walking towards my house. It's on a little dirt road. And I could see my husband. I called him Paps. He was standing on the porch. Paps looked scared. I said, baby, what's wrong? He said, Fannie, your boss, Mr. Marlowe, he just left here. Fannie, he knows that you went down there trying to register to vote. And he ain't happy about that, Fannie. He's very upset about it. He knows. Before I could say anything, he come, Mr. Marlowe, he drove up. He said, Fannie, did you go down there, try to register to vote today? Because if you did, you can't stay here no more. We can't have people changing things around here. Is it true? I said, yes, sir. And I said, Mr. Marlowe, with all due respect, I didn't go down there to register to vote for you. I went down there to register for me. All due respect. He said, well, you can't stay here. So that evening, just like that, I lost my family. I lost my job. But I gained a movement. I became a civil rights worker. And those young college kids, they worked with me day in and day out. And they helped me to figure out all the shenanigans that those circuit court people put in our way, all those questions on those literacy tests. They helped me and I was able to pass before 1962 was over. I had registered to vote. And I was traveling the byways and highways of Mississippi and Tennessee and South Carolina, telling my story to people about how I was able to register to vote and how they can register and how important it is for everybody to be able to vote. Were they scary times? Yes. Each time we went out, we took our lives in our hands. We would travel and people who weren't afraid would invite us into their homes so we could have somewhere to sleep, knowing that they were putting their lives in danger, knowing that people would be shooting into their homes at night. They did that for us. Everywhere we went, we faced killing, beatings, lynchings. Everywhere we go, every day, every hour. One of the worst times was in Winona, Mississippi. We were coming back from Charlottesville from a conference. We stopped at the restaurant there that served Negroes. We had to use the bathroom and some of us wanted to get a little something to eat. But what we didn't know was that our bus driver, he telephoned ahead, told the policemen in Winona that we was coming. So when we got there, they was waiting for us. We were all arrested. They took us downtown. They had maybe 10 cells spread across the building. They put 3 to 4 of us in a cell. And we could hear down the hallway the licks and the cries of the people that they would beat. Pretty soon they were at my cell. The policeman looked at me and he said, I'm going to make you wish you were never born. He called in two Negro prisoners into my cell. Gave them a blackjack. He had those Negro prisoners take turns beating me till they was exhausted, physically exhausted. They beaten my back, my legs. They beat around my head. My body was black and blue, and after a while it turned hard. Didn't feel human anymore. Felt like the skin of a snake. Rough. and I suffered permanent damage to my right eye and to my left kidney. But I had to go on. We all had to go on. That's just not my story. That's the story of many people that were with us. I got to tell my story nationally at the Democratic National Convention in Atlantic City in 1964. The reason we were there was because we had tried in Mississippi to organize our own party, because the Mississippi State Party of the Democrats would not let us participate. If they advertised the meeting, they would change it and not let us know. Or they'd lock the door and not let us in. Or if they did let us in, we couldn't say anything. We couldn't participate. So we formed our own party, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, to challenge the Democratic Party of Mississippi that would not let us participate. And our plan was to go to the Democratic Convention and ask the Credentials Committee to seat us, to recognize us as the legitimate party, the legitimate Democratic Party from Mississippi, and not that other party. And you know, that other party, even though they were Democrats, they come to the convention representing Goldwater. Representing Goldwater. So they asked me to speak, and they televised my speech. Told them my story, how I was beaten, how hard we've been trying to participate in the democratic process. And at the end of my speech, I said, if you don't seat us, the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party, then I question America. I question America and the fact that we as Negroes have to sleep at night with our phones off the hooks because of the threats that we get daily, just because we want to vote, just because we want to be first-class citizens. I question America. Well, you know the story. I don't have to tell you. The Credentials Party did not seat us. They seated the all-white party that wouldn't allow us to participate. You know that. They forced a compromise on us. In fact, they said it was a compromise. They didn't even give us a chance to vote on it. They said, we're going to seat them, but we'll give you 2 seats at large with no power. I felt like I had been sat at the back of the bus all over again. All over again. I felt betrayed and angry. But you got to show courage. And you got to keep moving forward. You try to find the good in things. And one was that in 1965, at least, they passed the Voting Rights Act. And in 1968, when we went back to the Democratic Convention in Chicago, they had to seat us. No state could send an all-white delegation when they had not allowed blacks to participate. That was a big victory. We won that victory. But church, it's 2018. And we still fighting voter suppression. There's still tricks being played not to allow people of color and seniors, voter ID, and all kinds of shenanigans they're putting in the way of folks. This is 2018. It hurts me. But you know what? What else hurts me? The fact that so many of us died. The fact that so many of us were beaten and lynched for the right to vote. And some people don't even take the steps necessary to get out and vote. That is a right that we sacrificed, that we died for. That is so important. You have to honor the sacrifices of the people that went before you to give you that right. It is so important. So I tell you, church, honor that right. I'm here today just as a reminder of what people went through and how important it is to vote, how precious it is to vote, how powerful it is to vote. And even though we are still facing obstacles, we got to show courage. We got to move forward. We got to do what's right. And never, ever take your right to vote for granted.